While the world continues to debate how to handle climate change, the facts are crystal clear. Climate change is real. In fact, 17 of the 18 hottest years on record, that's dating back to 1880, have occurred since 2001.
All over the United States, climate change is causing more severe and frequent natural disasters and extreme weather. These unprecedented conditions are causing mass amounts of damage on infrastructure, costing billions of dollars in repairs each year, which is a price that will continue to rise along with the issue of climate change.
We know that some of the extreme events that we've seen in the past couple of years have been intensified by ongoing climate change. So there were, multi-million, over $1 billion of damage done by Hurricane Harvey, some of which was the result of climate change. Same thing for a lot of the fires that we've had out here in the western part of the US.
People are suffering, people are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Some people are opposed to taking measures to prevent climate change because they are afraid of the burden that preventing climate change will have on the economy and taxpayers. Yet this is not a valid argument, because the repercussions that come with climate change will take more of a toll on the economy than the cost of preventing this issue will.
Locally, climate change is affecting the Rhode Island economy, which relies heavily on the fishing industry.
The commercial seafood industry in Rhode Island generates approximately $290 million in sales and creates 4,522 jobs for citizens.
Again, has been a northward shift in the location of different species. And so some of the more southerly states are probably having less access to the fish resources that they would normally be exploiting than had been the case in the past.
Warming oceans are wreaking havoc on the world's fisheries. Fish feed the world and power coastal economies. The World Health Organization says that fish are the main source of protein for around 1 billion people worldwide. The United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization estimates that 60 million people are employed in fisheries and aquaculture. Well, across the globe and here at home, we're seeing dangerous shifts affecting the fishing industry. Rhode Island once had a booming lobster industry, but the lobster population is shifting north as our waters warm, leaving Rhode Island lobster traps empty. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration reports, and I quote, "The lobster industry in New York and southern New England has nearly collapsed," end quote. Maine, as Senator Angus King has often pointed out, is temporarily benefiting from the northern movement of lobster, but the lobster will keep moving north into Canada as the oceans continue to warm.
The raising temperatures in this state are impacting the migrations of the fish that once were local. As temperatures rise, the abundance of these fish begins to decline because they are migrating to locations with colder water.
Another way climate change is negatively affecting the seafood industry is that it is causing deadly algae blooms to occur more frequently, in turn closing down shellfishing for periods of time.
And the next year, that very same organism bloomed for the first time in New England, causing extensive shellfish closures in 3 states.
As one of the largest contributors to climate change, the U.S. government needs to accept our country's role in this problem and use our vast resources accordingly. The most effective way to do this is by reducing consumption of fossil fuels in favor of renewable energy, such as solar and wind.
So that's, reducing our use of the high carbon fuels like coal and oil, and trying to transition to renewable energy sources like wind and solar and so forth.
During Joe Biden's presidency, we would like for the President and Congress to take measures to combat climate change by converting to more renewable energy rather than energy gained from the burning of fossil fuels. We would also like for the United States to rejoin the Paris Agreement and initiate the Green New Deal. Taking all of these measures will set the country on the right track to mitigate the effects of climate change and preserve oceans and aquatic life. If these efforts are successful, the U.S. economy will benefit tremendously, as will the well-being of the planet.